Welcome to my channel. I'm Nicole Malcolm, certified mindfulness coach and pranayama instructor. And this series is called The Good Girl Dissolves and the Goddess Rises. This series is all about uncovering those beliefs, those roles, those masks that we picked up during early childhood and letting them go so that we can emerge as our authentic self, as the god or goddess that you are. I work as a certified mindfulness coach. My background is in social psychology, and social psychology is the study of how society and social structures, systems, and groups impact us on an individual level. And I love that because it really shows up a lot in the work that I do today as a mindfulness coach, really examining how your environment, your upbringing, your family, your circle, how all of those interactions and those experiences have made you the person that you are today. And that's where we're going to get into it today. And this series is inspired by my own life. Growing up, I was a good kid, I was a good girl, a good daughter. And while that's something I've taken pride in and dedicated a lot of my life to upholding, I realized that holding on to that identity is very limiting. Holding on to that identity perpetuates narratives that I did not create for myself willingly. This series is all about returning borrowed energy. In what ways did your early childhood experiences make you carry on these roles and carry these bags that are no longer serving you, that are not who you are, that are blocking you from living your authentic truth and going out and doing what you want to do? That is what we'll be getting into on this series. Yes, the series is Good Girl to Goddess Rising, but regardless of your gender or how you identify, I hope that you can take something away from this series because all of us as humans have underwent this experience. Those early childhood experiences where we learn what behaviors would result in love and affection and praise, and what behaviors would result in negative attention or punishment or whatever, violence, isolation, shame, guilt. That's what we're going to be getting into on this series. So, what does it mean to be a good girl? For me, being a good girl was having good grades, being respectful, carrying myself in a certain way. I learned very early on that certain behaviors were not going to receive praise, and I naturally wanted to avoid conflict. I would notice what things I would do that would put me on punishment or get me cussed out. And I would notice one things I would do that would make my parents express that they were proud of me, have them on the phone with the aunties bragging about, look at what Nicole did. She's such a good girl. It's always been something that I've been told. It's always been something that I've been made to feel proud of. And I'm not even saying that, now I got to be a bad girl to counteract it. But when we internalize these identities, we they hinder our ability to see the world as it is. They become glasses that we wear that color every experience. And it also can create this distance between who we are and who we think we should be in order to gain acceptance by others. And we want to live authentically. We deserve to be who we are. And many of us, if you're watching this video and you're with me at this point, like especially if you follow me on TikTok, you're familiar with my work as a mindfulness coach, like we're here because we want to show up authentically. We know that we are divine beings having a human experience. We know that we are consciousness occupying a human body. We know that there's nothing that we can't be, do, or have. But what makes it so hard to truly manifest and tap in and align with that life we want is we haven't done the work to uncover, what am I holding on to that is blocking my perspective? What am I holding on to that is hindering my ability to show up authentically and to be myself? So for me, the good girl, I knew my mother was an English teacher. She's retired now. I knew I needed to get good grades. If I got anything less than a B, I had my television or video game privileges taken away. My parents did not approve of that. They didn't even really like B minuses. My dad would even say a B minus is a wannabe C. So very early on, I learned, okay, in order for me to please these people and make them happy, I need to maintain good grades. I've always been I was a shy child. I wasn't very outgoing. I honestly didn't really like to play with other kids. I grew up an only child. So I like to just be in my room, playing with my dolls, playing outside, watching 90s Nick. Like, that was my safe place. I learned at a very early age that who I was in my room by myself was different than who I was as soon as I stepped out of that room and the eyes of another was present. And let me start by saying, whatever your early identity was, here's a good way to get to that. What were some behaviors that you needed to learn in order to be loved or accepted? What would you say was your earliest memory of realizing, if I engage in this behavior, I will be loved and accepted? Or if I engage in that behavior, I will receive criticism and ridicule and shame. Just, you can pause for a moment, or I will put all the journal prompts in the bio of this video, but just take a moment to like reflect on that. Like, what kept you safe in your household? How did you avoid conflict? How did you keep your parents happy? How did you keep your siblings happy or keep your caregivers happy? Just take a moment to really like understand what you did. Was it being helpful? Was it getting good grades? Was it not talking back? Was it being clean? It's different for all of us, but just take a moment to identify what was that identity, that role that you needed to pick up that kept you safe. And remind yourself that it's not your fault. We were all programmed, and it's not even our parents' fault either, because they were also programmed. We all live in a society that is collectively unconscious. We all are a product of our environment, of societal conditioning, of the ideas of few controlling the mindsets of many, especially if you're American. It's built into the layers of this country. So, throughout this series, like, I hold no ill will towards my parents. I love them. I have a great relationship with them, and I'm grateful that I've been able to go from good girl to goddess while still maintaining that, while not looking at them and being like, why did you mess me up so bad? But instead having compassion for them and seeing that they were also divine beings having a human experiences that were also the product of their environment. Maybe for some of y'all, you aren't there yet. Maybe you do hold feelings towards your parents. I'm not here to judge you on that. I'm not here to even tell you to reconcile. This series is about you. This series is not about blaming others. This series is about taking a look under the hood and seeing what's there so that we can really get to work. So let's talk about those early moments that formed the mask. What were those moments that made you realize you needed to be something, you needed to perform, you needed to uphold something in order to be safe, in order to avoid conflict, in order to be in good standing in your household? For me, that was piano lessons. I can track it all down to this one moment in my life. When I was younger, Alicia Keys had just come out. It was 1999. She dropped Songs in A minor. And my mom was like, oh my God, you have to take piano lessons. She wanted me to be the next Alicia Keys. Okay, fine. I did it, and I hated it. And it didn't take many lessons for me to realize that I didn't want to play piano. And when I expressed to my mother that I didn't want to take piano lessons anymore, she made me feel bad for that choice. She expressed that growing up, her parents didn't have the money to send her into piano lessons, and that many other young girls and boys would be grateful to take piano lessons, and that I should be. And how dare I even, the audacity of me to express that I don't want to do it. That was a very formative moment for me. In that moment, she didn't realize it, but she was telling me that I needed to betray myself to make her happy. Even though it was something I didn't want to do, she wasn't letting me quit. And she was like appalled that I even entertained the thought of not doing it anymore. And I was a good girl. I was mommy's good girl. We were very close. My mom very rarely got mad at me. My dad was usually the one that would discipline me and yell and punish me, but not my mom. So when that happened with her, it was like, oh, okay, I don't have a say. A sense of agency left me, and it took years to get back. I stayed in piano lessons for 10 years. 10 years. And I tried to quit many times over those years. It wasn't like after that first incident, I was like, you know, I guess I'm doing this forever. No, I always brought it up trying to quit. I always fought for myself, but they never let me quit. I thankfully negotiated my way to summers and school vacations off, so that was good. But every Wednesday, piano lessons. I didn't like it. I liked playing the piano, but I didn't like the structure of lessons. I didn't like, I gotta memorize Scarborough Fair and play it all the time. I would much rather learn how to play Bootylicious by ear on my keyboard than Scarborough Fair. That was my relationship with piano. But that early moment of self betrayal planted a seed for me, and it created distance between me and anyone that would come into my life from there. Because then I feel like I went into trying to keep everybody happy. I mentioned I was an only child. So friends, cousins, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to like make those connections with my peers, with people my own age. And I learned early on, if I do the things that you want me to do, if I'm a good girl, if I'm non-confrontational, if I go along with what you want to do, you'll accept me. And that's what I did. I was a little pushover. I would let little kids boss me around, and I was so quiet and just so desperate for their acceptance that I didn't even question it. And that's something I ended up getting in trouble for too. But that's another story. But it's looking back at it now, I just see it all so clearly. So many relationships I've had, it makes total sense why I was the way I was because of that early moment. So I challenge you, what was one of those moments for you? What was a moment where your caregiver or an adult in your life or even an older sibling feel like you had to be something that you were not? Put their energy and their beliefs onto you and you internalized it and made it your own. Ooh, what's that for you? Now let's move on to how these early masks that we form can stay with us up until adulthood. Because truth be told, they're going to stay with you until you address them. Many of you are unconsciously identifying with a mask that your parents put on your face, and you may not even realize it, and that's okay. But it's up to you to identify it, to hold space for it, hold space in understanding it, not judging it, not making yourself feel bad for it, not being angry at them for it, but just seeing like, wow, someone hacked my computer and really messed up my programming. Now I need to reprogram myself to ensure that my computer works how I want it to work. Because your mind works for you. But our minds have been programmed by those around us, by society, by early experiences, even just the nature of the human mind. We all possess an ego. We all possess a false sense of self that was created in an effort to protect us, but often manifests as guiding us. Your ego should not guide you. The ego is a terrible master, but an incredible servant. And for many of us, our ego became our master when we took on those early masks. That's the ego. That's the ego started to protect you. So when I decided, or when I learned that I needed to be a good girl, I needed to get good grades, I needed to be acceptable, I needed to be non confrontational, that was my ego. My ego said, oh, this keeps us safe. We want more of this praise and we want less of this punishment. So now we're going to form an identity that aligns with someone who gets that praise. That was all my ego. It wasn't my consciousness. It wasn't my authentic, truer self. It was my ego making an effort to protect me. And our ego and our personality, those are formed over the first 8 years of our lives. So those first 8 years of your life, those early childhood experiences were very formative in forming your personality, your identity, and your ego. So I encourage you to just examine those early moments and to just try and decipher like what made me feel safe? What resulted in less conflict? What areas of my life did I receive praise? And what areas of my life did I receive negativity? And what are my relationships to those areas now? So as I grew up and as I said, I got my bachelor's degree in social psychology. That really opened my eyes. That really showed me that I wasn't who I thought I was. It showed me how much so many things outside of me influence the formation of my personality, of my thoughts, of how I felt about myself. And that was a beginning, a catalyst for me to truly uncover and to know myself and to understand myself. That is when I first learned about the benefits of mindfulness and meditation, although it took me 6 years after that to even get started. But it made me really take a look at myself and examine what had I been doing. I was a big people pleaser with my friends, with my family, with my cousins, with guys I liked. What do they like? How can I impress them? How can I make them like me? Oh, he likes this type of music. I'm going to like that type of music too. Oh, my friends are listening to this. I'm going to listen to that too. I was always worried about what other people thought about things and never worried about what I thought about things. I did not like conflict. I've never been into a fight. I've been in very few heated arguments. Although, as I've kind of went from good girl to goddess, I felt more comfortable speaking up and not running from conflict when it meets me in the moment. But early in my like late teens, early 20s, I was such a people pleaser and the mask just lingered. Even as I started to learn about psychology and the mind and biases and the subconscious and learning about child development, child psychology, like even as I was learning those things, I was just starting to peel back the layers. But what really made my mask clear to me was when I entered my relationship with my now husband. That was my first serious adult romantic relationship. We got together when I was in my 20s. I was 21. And it really, being in that relationship with someone, spending so much time with them, observing how I am in that relationship, it really revealed a lot for me. It really showed me I come from a family where if you got a problem, we talk it out until we're blue in the face, and then we talk it out some more. And then we talk it out some more, and then we bring it up at the cookout a month later. Like, you could never talk about things enough in my family. That's how I grew up. So whenever I would have a conflict with my partner, I would be like, "Okay, well, let's talk this out. Let's pick this apart bit by bit by bit." But he's different. He's a Cancer. He doesn't need that. He would go into his shell. He would solve things internally before he could even begin to solve them externally with me. And in the beginning of our relationship, that was a challenge for me because I would notice that when he would get quiet and need that time for himself, I would go into people please, over apologize, can I fix this mode? Being with someone I loved so deeply, someone that I had such a good friendship with, someone that I could be my authentic self with more than anyone, the conflicts within that relationship gave my ego, my mask, the opportunity to show its face, to show its ass. Because as soon as things weren't good, as soon as I wasn't the good girl, as soon as I wasn't the good girlfriend, it was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. What did I do? How can I make this right? What did I do? I'm so sorry." I would apologize. I would cry. I would like try and force him out of the shell to talk to me and give me like validation that he's okay. And it didn't really have the best effect. It would either end in more distance in the moment or him just trying to comfort a sad baby. Like, "Oh, don't cry. Don't be sad." Like, then now all of a sudden the discussion that was actually a healthy discussion that we really should have like kind of actually worked through, to consoling me and making me feel like I would always ask, "Do you still like me? Do you still want to be with me? Are you going to break up with me?" Like, I thought early on, like, if I'm not the good girl, if I'm not the good girlfriend, if there's conflict, that means that I'm in jeopardy of losing you. I'm in jeopardy of losing your love and affection. And after a while, once that happened a few times, I was like, "Whoa, girl, you need to work on that." Like, at first, I'm like, "Oh, no, it's him. He doesn't know how to talk to me. He doesn't know how to, da 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 da." Girl, it doesn't matter who you're with. It doesn't matter if it's your husband. You are responsible for your own emotions. Don't you ever make another human being responsible for how you feel, because they're not. They may activate the emotion within you, but they're not responsible for it. It's up to you. And I learned that and I practiced that. And honestly, it's because of therapy. I started going to therapy, And my therapist had me read a list of 9 cognitive distortions. I'll do another video on that because it really helped me. And in the cognitive distortions, some of them, all or nothing thinking, personalization, making an assumption, basically things that we decide mentally. Something happens and we make a decision on it mentally. We put a stamp on it. It's like a cognitive response. She helped me identify mine, and the ones I remember were personalization. That was a big one. Taking everything personally. If someone doesn't like you, if someone's mean to you, it's because I suck and they hate me and I need to fix it. And she challenged me. She said, every time you notice that you're taking something personally, I want you to write about it. I want you to write, like, in your journal or in your notes, like, what happened? What did you start telling yourself? Like, that's how we got into it. That helped me a lot. Therapy, I love it. If you have not done therapy, look into it, or mindfulness coaching. But that really helped me a lot. And it helped me realize that I wasn't my thoughts. I was the observer of them. Before, I would take something personally and just run with it. But when she told me to journal on it, I had to take a pause and journal on it before I could actually continue to ruminate on it. And then as I would journal on it, I would realize, damn, I don't even really care that much. It's like not even really a big deal, because in that moment I was holding space for those emotions and just seeing, oh, okay, this is what's happening here, non-judgmentally. And that is what mindfulness does. My therapist is actually the one that taught me how to meditate. She made me do a mindfulness exercise in therapy, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise, where you focus on what are 5 things you can see right now? What are 4 things that you can hear right now? What are 3 things that you can feel right now? What are 2 things that you can smell right now? What is 1 thing that you can taste? She encouraged me to tap into my senses and to observe my surroundings. That was my first time doing a mindfulness exercise. And then I abruptly had to leave therapy. Long story short, turned 26, got off of my mother's health insurance, couldn't afford to pay $250 a week, and I couldn't do therapy anymore. And I started to meditate because I had remembered she taught me about meditation, and that stuck with me. And I remembered learning about meditation and mindfulness during my undergraduate studies. So I downloaded Headspace and I started doing the meditations daily. And now, one thing about meditation for me, it took me years to like consistently meditate, because not many, all of us start meditating and we think that we're bad at meditating, but we're not bad at meditating. Our mind is busy. Our mind is very hard to focus. In Buddhist traditions, in Eastern Buddhist philosophies, they call it the monkey mind. Imagine a monkey swinging from tree branch to tree branch. That is how the mind works. And most of us spend our life not taking a look under the hood, not observing the mind. But when you meditate and you set the intention, I'm going to focus on my breath, I'm going to focus on this guided meditation, you will quickly, within seconds, realize that your mind is going to wander to some past or future thought. That's okay. That's the nature of the mind. But then something amazing happens. And this is why it's important to have an anchor to the present moment in your meditation, whether it's your breath, a mantra, or a guided meditation. You're going to remember that you're meditating and that you don't need to think about what you're packing in the kids' lunch tomorrow. And then you bring your attention back to your anchor until your mind inevitably wanders again. Now, for many of us, when we start meditating and we do that for the first time and our mind wanders 100 times during a 3-minute guided meditation, we think we suck, but we don't. We just have never made any effort to train or focus the mind. It's like going to the gym and trying to deadlift 200 pounds. For most of us, we can't do that. What are you going to be like? Oh, well, I suck. I guess I'm never going to be strong. No. If you train, you start small and you work your way up. Next thing you know, you're lifting it up with one hand. That's how it is with meditation. Once you start, you cannot give up. And there's no one is ever going to be like, well, I've meditated enough. I don't have to do it anymore. Once you start meditating, it becomes a part of your life. And I bring this up because this meditation was a big catalyst in me going from good girl to goddess, because meditation made it possible for me to hold space for those emotions, hold space for those cognitive distortions, hold space for when I would put my mask on and be like, oh shit, look at me putting my mask on and taking it off. Mindfulness helped me be aware of my mind. You must be able to control your mind to be able to hold space for who you truly are, because the mind will do everything to keep you distracted. The ego doesn't want to die. The ego wants to protect you. The ego wants you to keep the mask on. The ego wants you to make things easier for yourself by doing things that the ego thinks are acceptable for you. But that's not how we go from good girl to goddess. A goddess does not listen to the ego. The ego is its servant. The goddess or God, and when I say God, goddess, religious people, I'm not talking about your monotheistic God. We are all children of the universe. You need to be able to realize that you are not your thoughts in order to realize that you are more than them. And in order to learn and to feel and to observe that you are not your thoughts, you need to meditate, because meditation helps you let go of those thoughts in the moment. When you are meditating, when I'm meditating, it doesn't matter what thought comes up. I could be thinking about my mom, my husband, a loved one, myself. It doesn't matter. I'm focused on the breath right now. For 5 minutes, I don't care what my mom needs. For 5 minutes, I don't care what my husband needs. For 5 minutes, I don't care what bills are due. In this 5 minutes, all that matters is right now. My breath, my guided meditation, the mantra, whatever it is I'm focusing on. Everything else can and will wait. They will try and get my attention, but ultimately, every time I let one of those thoughts go and I return to the present moment, energetically, I'm taking some of its power back. Now, when I'm off the meditation cushion and, a family member comes at me sideways, I can let that go like another meditation object. I don't need to hold on to it because I've practiced letting go. That's the beauty of meditation. And that was a big turning point for me. If you notice, I'm occasionally looking down at these scrappy notes I wrote for this. That was a big turning point for me. Like, I separated my worth from someone else's emotions. Like, early in my relationship, my worth came from how my partner appeared to feel about me, if he was happy with me, if he was pleased with me, if my mom and dad were happy with me, if my friends liked me, if the boy I was crushing on thought I was cute. My worth used to come from that, but now it doesn't. Now it comes from me, because I know it can't be taken away. And it never was. And the ideas and the beliefs and the mask and the egoic ideas that made me feel like it could be, it was not me. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited for this series. I wanted to just kind of start by talking about my personal journey and telling you a bit about who I am. I hope that the parts of you that you see in your own story, I hope that you take time to look within and to understand how those early childhood moments have affected who you are today, how you see the world, how you interact with others, how you move through the world. In this series, we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be going from good girl to goddess. We're letting go of everything that is not us. We're returning all of that borrowed energy, and we're manifesting what we want in this world. Please share your experiences in your comments down below. If there's anything specific you want me to touch on, please share it down below. My goal is to drop a new episode of this every week, maybe even twice a week. I don't know. This is new. This is one of those just make it exist and make it perfect later moments for me. I've been wanting to do this channel for years. And because I thought, oh, I can't get my audio right, my video right, I need to, be Joe Budden right away. I took my time making it happen. But no, I'm using my front facing camera. I can't even see myself right now, but I hope I look good. I'm using this microphone that my husband got me, and I'm just doing my thing.